She exercises every morning, jogging, push-ups, squats. She eats a healthy breakfast, oats, eggs, spinach, and dinner, chicken, broccoli, rice. She diets, keto, vegan, paleo, just as the doctor ordered. She's tired, she aches, she's hungry, exhausted, she sleeps, but every morning the scales never change. She tries to ignore it, but for my wife Grace, she is a prisoner of her own belly fat. A 46-year-old mother of 3, trapped inside her own body. Her shoulders slumped as the realization set in she was going to be overweight for the rest of her life. Grace looked up at me, and in tears she uttered 5 words I don't think I'll ever forget. "I can't live like this," she said. "I've never felt so helpless in all my life. I was angry at the doctors, whose diets and exercise has done nothing. Angry at God for letting this happen to the woman I loved. Angry at myself for not being able to do anything to help her. But I couldn't. I didn't know how. So why am I sharing this story with you today? What happened next is very painful for me to tell. But it forced me to go on a journey that changed everything in my life and the life of tens of thousands of women and men around the world. That led to my discovery of a 5-second water hack from a tiny Malaysian island, one so powerful it would completely transform my 46-year-old wife's life, support a healthy heart, arteries, and blood sugar levels, and after years of failed diets and feeling hopeless, melt away 2 pounds overnight, and in just a matter of weeks, lose 62 pounds of raw, ugly fat from all over her body, arms, face, hips, and thighs. Going from this to this, relieving her of the debilitating feelings of stress, anxiety, and depression that were ruining her health, while restoring the energy, hope, sex drive, and zest for life that she thought she would never enjoy again. Leaving her doctor speechless and every overweight woman and man desperate to know her secret. You see, despite what you've been told, the real cause of your increasing belly and body fat has nothing to do with how much you diet, starve yourself, or deprive yourself of your favorite foods, how much grueling exercise you do, how much sugar or carbohydrates you eat, your thyroid, hormones, or metabolism, or even genetics, or the aging process. That's what they want you to believe, that you're broken, that is your fault. But it's not your fault. Instead, it's all down to this: a dangerous foreign compound swimming in your bloodstream right now. This is forcing your body to store more and more fat that scientists have found is abundant in every woman and man, especially those over 40 years of age, who are finding it impossible to lose and keep fat off their body. And according to new groundbreaking research by a team at Stirling University, Scotland, is the real root cause of why we gain weight and America's obesity crisis. But fear not. By using my discovery of the simple, forbidden 5-second water hack, which I'm about to reveal on the short video, known only to the inhabitants of a small, barely populated Malaysian island, 8,900 miles from home, you can quickly target this dangerous foreign compound and stop your body from storing excess weight. A truth hidden by the weight loss industry, whose entire business relies on you never losing a single pound. And yes, this discovery has nothing to do with ab crunches, fasting, counting calories, dieting, or even gastric bypass surgery, and extreme cardio routines like CrossFit, P90X, or Insanity. Instead, it's just a simple Malaysian 5-second water hack once a day. Grace still ate all her favorite foods like brownies, pizza, cheesecake, and ice cream. In fact, eating these foods is recommended. This 100% safe and natural 5-second ritual that turned my wife's life around and gave her back her lean, sexy, and stress-free body is something too important to hide. And until now, that's been the problem. This simple hack has been right under our noses and been kept from us by the folks we trust to make us better. But not anymore, because in the next 3.5 minutes, I'm going to share with you why everything you thought you knew about belly fat and how to lose it is flat out wrong. You are going to be filled with disgust when you hear a weight loss industry insider break his code of silence and reveal the 3 biggest weight loss lies touted by doctors and fitness experts around the world. And in the real reason why every diet or exercise plan you do may work for a bit, but will always fail. I will reveal the identity of the deadly foreign compound, the real cause of your uncontrolled belly fat, and the clinically proven ancient 5-second water hack that you can do tonight to tackle this foreign toxin, which will, while you are sleeping this very night, start burning off stubborn, ugly body fat and support healthy joints, healthy arteries, and blood sugar levels. Plus, all the peer-reviewed studies that prove how this works. The truth is, you and your doctor simply do not know about this simple and all-natural, unconventional breakthrough. It is so effective that it's already worked for over 166,304 people, and this number is steadily increasing. I even used this hack myself and lost 28 pounds. I can fit into my 32-inch jeans for the first time in 11 years, and I can see my abs again. I feel incredible. Diana M. Barely left her home for fear of being judged about her weight or that she might not fit into chairs, doorways, or public transport. Skeptical, she decided to try out this trick for herself. Within a few weeks, she lost 49 pounds. Plus, she boosted her energy and now regularly travels on the bus and shops and tries on clothes in the mall stress-free. I felt like such a turnoff to my husband, she writes, but now he can't keep his hands off me. James R., a 61-year-old retired doctor from Parkman, Ohio, was doing everything in his medical degree that taught him and was still piling on the pounds. I couldn't believe it when my grandson Neil asked me, "Grandpa, why is your tummy so squishy?" I had to do something when I heard of your water hack and verified all your research. I knew I had to try it out. I've lost 34 pounds of fat so far, and it keeps on melting right off. My storing has disappeared. I feel fitter and happier than I did in my 30s. Marianne F. said, "Ever since using the hack every day, I'm still eating what I want, but I'm down 41 pounds. I feel so pretty now and no longer fear how my weight affects those around me. Every day my inbox is full of new success stories from people who have had amazing results just like these. And just as I can promise the sun will rise tomorrow morning, so can I promise this will work for you too. Whether you're male or female, 18 or 80 years of age, whether you are 10 pounds or 100 pounds overweight and have been for 10 weeks or 10 years, whether you've tried every single diet, exercise, or gym program out there, or simply are worried about future health complications. I don't expect you to believe me yet. You may be feeling skeptical. But if you're ready to get the real truth about weight loss, you've turned exactly to the right place. It's absolutely crucial that you keep watching until the very end while you still have the chance, because I honestly don't know how much longer I'll be able to keep this presentation online. In the US alone, the weight loss industry is worth $80 billion. That's billion with a B, full of impossible diet plans, shakes, meal deliveries, gym memberships, extreme cardio sessions, and more. And the weight loss industry is scared because what I'm about to reveal could destroy their business model overnight. The very same cash cow that will never help you lose weight and keep it off, but keep you a customer for life. The last thing they want is for you to see what I'm about to show you. This information could save your life or the life of someone you love. So listen up, because we don't have much time. Today, I'm offering you the chance to effortlessly lose stubborn body fat, to never worry about deadly health complications, to never worry about what the public thinks about your size or what your husband or wife really thinks about your naked body, but is too scared to tell you. To never worry about people smirking at you or judging you, to be free of the guilt and shame around your eating and what people think of what you're eating. Instead, you eat all your favorite foods when you want, guilt-free. You shed pounds of pure fat like clockwork from your belly, arms, hips, waist, and face. You support your new healthy arteries, heart fertility, joints, and bone strength, and melt deadly, visceral fat around your organs. You slip into skin-tight, sexy clothing, the kind you could never have dreamed of before. You restore your energy, vitality, elasticity of your skin, and turbo boost your sex drive. And you feel younger, healthier, happier, and more energetic than you have in years, even decades. It's time to free yourself from the prison of belly fat once and for all. Does that sound good to you? So close the door, get a pen and paper, and make sure you stick this video out until the very end, because I promise you, you can melt away pounds of stubborn fat with nothing more than this glass of water and my bizarre once a day 5-second water hack. Yes, it really is that easy. It's time I introduced myself properly. Hello, my name is Morgan Hurst. I'm no doctor, I'm no nutritionist, I'm no guest lecturer at Yale University. You know what I am. I'm you. I'm a real person. I'm a 47-year-old firefighter, and I live with my wife, Grace, and our 3 kids in Denver, Colorado. I've protected my community, their homes, and their lives for over a decade. I helped lead the efforts in the Spring Creek Fire of 2018 and Wolf Creek Pass Fire of 2013, but I know what it feels like to lose control. The same way a fire can turn on you any moment, your body can too. And that's what happened to Grace. Grace's story is one that is very personal and embarrassing, but will be familiar to you. It started about 15 years ago when she became pregnant with our first child, Daryl. We were your average, happily married 30-somethings, enjoying life like the majority of people, taking our health for granted pretty much every day. Grace had been an all-star track champion in her teens, an athlete her whole life. It was one of the things that made me fall in love with her. But during Daryl's pregnancy, she put on about 30 pounds, which never went away. Then our next child, Kirsty, came along, and on went another 20 pounds. After our 3rd child, she was already 70 pounds heavy. Every time she looked down, grabbing her belly, I could see her feel shame and guilt for letting herself go like this and not doing anything about it. She went to see Dr. Matthews, who was very concerned about Grace's health, and warned us we needed to do something before her health deteriorated even more, or worse. So surprise, surprise, he recommended a calorie-controlled diet and exercise. And although we didn't realize it at the time, this moment would mark the beginning of a 10-year nightmare. Because after the hope and enthusiasm with every new diet came the crushing disappointment when it would inevitably fail, and the weight came back, plus a little more. I mean, Grace tried everything to lose the stubborn fat. Vegetarian, low carb, keto, paleo, fasting, special teas, even hypnosis. We spent thousands on meal plan deliveries, home gym equipment, gym memberships, ab crunchers, and not to mention the fitness classes like CrossFit, Zumba, Insanity, P90X, and more. And I'm not going to tell you that these strategies didn't work. They did work for a while, but like so many people, Grace couldn't stick to any of them. And every time Grace felt upset or bad, she turned to comfort food, and the diet was over. As the years rolled by, Grace's energy levels, vitality, mood, and general health and well-being went rapidly downhill. You see, I know exactly what you are going through. The shame, the pants that don't fit, the binging, the scale, anxiety. I get it, because I saw Grace live these feelings every day. But still, we trusted the doctors, and although Grace's diets and exercise were supposed to help, she piled on more and more weight as she found herself unable to fight the intense cravings for sugary and starchy foods that overpowered her every day. And the more weight she put on, the more depressed she became, and the further away she drifted from the woman I'd fallen in love with. On top of it all, our sex life had completely gone. We found ourselves slipping into a long, boring routine of going to work, watching TV, and going to bed while feeling constantly tired, depressed, and unhappy, and dissatisfied. Until one night with Grace asleep upstairs, I found myself browsing Instagram, looking at slim, sexy women in their bikinis on beaches. I felt so guilty, but I couldn't help myself. I wondered why I didn't find Grace as sexy as these women. I wished to God I did, but I didn't. I felt so bad that I turned off my iPad and went upstairs to show her how much I loved her, no matter what she looked like. Don't touch me, I'm fat and disgusting, and I'm always gonna be fat and disgusting. I don't want you to touch me, she yelled, when I reached out to hold her, to kiss her, to show her I cared. Seeing her embarrassed, laying there, grabbing her belly fat she hated so much, I felt powerless and weak in a way I never thought I could. That night, I lay awake for hours next to Grace, staring at the ceiling and feeling my heart constrict in my chest, imagining life without my wife. I had vowed to take care of her, so I made a promise to myself. I was going to do everything in my power to defeat her belly fat for good, whatever it took. I was going to fix her. I was going to make her love herself and her body again. And I was going to do it without diet or exercise. After all, the reason for most of her health problems over the last 10 years had been because of the diets and exercises she'd been torturing herself with. Because that's when her health really began to worsen. The thought of losing Grace too soon broke my heart. She was my rock. So that night, I got on my tablet when she'd fallen asleep and began my mission. I started my research with our fat cells. You see, when fat cells grow, they release a hormone called leptin. You may have already heard of leptin. It controls our hunger and how full we feel. When leptin levels are low, we feel hungry and crave calories. When leptin levels are high, we feel full and satisfied. Sounds simple enough, but problems arise when something called leptin resistance happens. Take a look at this image. I'm sure this cycle sounds familiar. You eat your food, that's at the top there. Excess energy from food is converted into fat and stored in our fat cells. As fat cells expand, they release leptin, signaling your body to stop eating. It is here when naturally you should stop eating and feel full and satisfied, put the knife and fork down and maintain a slim, sexy figure, but instead, leptin resistance occurs. As your body is resisting leptin signals, the brain never gets the message, you're full. Instead, you continue to feel hungrier and hungrier, even though you're eating more and more, until at the end, you've eaten that entire cake. You've wolfed down that whole bag of chips. You feel guilty, you feel sick, you feel tired, but you still don't feel entirely full or satisfied. You've gone from feeling hungry to feeling sick and tired. And a short time later, the cycle starts all over again. This is the exact cycle that Grace had been in for years, and the same cycle you and other women or men struggling with weight loss are in right now. That's a scientific fact. You see, it's not your fault you took just 1, 2, or 3 more slices of pizza or decided to finish off that tray of cookies. You don't lack willpower. It's all down to your inability to turn off your hunger. But what causes leptin resistance? Well, couldn't find a single precise and distinctive answer on exactly why it happens in the first place, and why this has started only in the last 50 years. Look at this graph. Overweight people barely existed in the 1950s. Dr. Matthews himself stated that the medical industry isn't exactly sure where leptin resistance comes from, only why it is bad for us and that is increasing at a rapid rate. A recent report published by OECD based in Paris, France, predicts that 75% of all American adults will be obese and leptin resistant by 2020 if things don't change. You may be thinking that it's because we're eating more, right? Well, remember that cycle of leptin resistance? Leptin resistance causes overeating and therefore more fat, not the other way around. So if your overeating was simply a symptom of leptin resistance, what was the cause? How do you or Grace get leptin resistance before all the weight gain began? For weeks, I devoured everything the library had to offer. I read through hundreds of dusty old medical journals. I visited universities, spoke to doctors, endocrinologists, alternative therapists, and even Chinese herb doctors for help. But I found nothing new. Just the same old tired advice of eat less, exercise more, and count calories. Advice that you or any other person struggling with weight loss listening to my story today has heard a million times before. I felt like I'd hit a brick wall, and after weeks of research, I was nowhere. Until I had left online posts on forums and message boards requesting any information that could help Grace. I spoke with a man I'll call Jonah, who has asked to remain anonymous to protect his identity. For 10 years, Jonah had been working at America's biggest weight loss brand with an annual revenue of over $1 billion. You know, the kind that ship you those healthy meals, shakes, and meal plans every month, until he became sick of what the weight loss industry had become and was fired for finally speaking up against his greedy CEOs and voicing his concerns. Over our call, he revealed to me the 3 biggest and closely guarded lies of the weight loss industry. And it was because, in his own words, the whole industry was a giant and deliberate fraud, which makes billions every year, not by helping you lose weight, but by actively making you fatter. As Jonah explained, the moment you feel your belly get a little squishy and your hips getting a bit wobblier, you're encouraged to stop eating so much food, stop eating carbohydrates, and restrict your calories. Sound familiar, right? But the big problem here is that from this moment on, your waist size and health is destined to only get worse, not better. After all, when was the last time you went on a diet and perhaps lost some weight and the weight stayed off forever? It's never happened, right? And this is the big weight loss lie number one. Dieting helps you lose weight. In a huge study carried out by researchers at the University of Helsinki of 2,452 women and 2,227 men, researchers found that among both women and men, irregular eating and a history of dieting in order to lose weight were two of the key factors that actually led to weight gain, not weight loss. That's because, like our early ancestors, our bodies prevent weight loss following what they perceive to be a famine. When you diet, your body thinks you're starving and protects itself from holding on to weight. And the more diets you do, you are training your body to hold on to more and more weight. Sure, you may lose a couple pounds, but research shows 95% of all diets fail. And in fact, over 66% of people who diet end up putting on more weight within months of starting. Why? Because by dieting, not only are you training your body to hold on to fat, but the root cause of your weight gain has not been addressed. You are still craving food. Worse still, dieting more than once is proven to cause an increased risk of heart disease, osteoporosis, loss of strength, and thinning hair. To really lose weight and keep it off for life, you have to go after the root cause, leptin resistance, not just treat the symptoms and live as a slave to your overweight body.